Max, it's time to answer some questions.
Got a lot already.
Got a bunch of questions in here.
Got a bunch of questions.
One thing, I have not been reading the questions, so if I need to look something up, I'm going to be like vamping and telling you. I'd be like, oh yeah, so the sports. So if I'm furiously typing on my computer.
Yeah, well, we'll warn people. We
doing.
want to give them an informed answer, and
Yes.
that means we're going to have to pull out our homework. We've got
Yes.
lots of data, playoff brackets,
Sure.
projections
Sure.
to look at.
Sure.
We want to make sure everyone gets the answer they deserve.
So
for the
we got
questions.
questions. Keep them coming. If you got questions, leave comments on Facebook Live. But Max,
All right.
why don't you hit that
mailbag siren?
that mailbag siren?
There's no mailbag siren.
We need a mailbag siren.
We do need a mailbag siren.
What's
All
up?
right. First question. Let's see here. I want to make sure I name who submitted everything. Julio Garcia. Says no.
Oh
Wait.
God!
I got it.
It's already off to a
Hold on,
terrible start.
Hold on. We're getting to Julio's question though. Don't worry. One of our questions disappeared. Someone's question disappeared, but we're gonna answer it anyway.
Okay.
That's the way it's gonna be.
You can
It's all right.
ask it and then fine.
Which game would you go to tonight? Stephenville versus Wiley, Abilene Wiley.
Okay.
Snyder versus Brownwood.
Okay.
Or Sweetwater versus Greenwood.
Sweetwater versus Green.
I figured that was what you were gonna go with.
Yeah.
But I figured I'd pose all of them.
From basically, Stephenville's an interesting squad, and they always play Wiley tough. But I think Wiley's a pretty considerable favorite in that one.
Right.
What was the second one? Snyder and
Brownwood. That's a historic game.
That's a very historic game.
programs,
Those are all four projected playoff teams. That'll be a fun game. I probably lean a little bit towards Brownwood, I guess, but Snyder's had a great year too.
Yeah.
But I would lean a little bit towards Brownwood. The game to go to here is Greenwood and
Sweetwater.
This is for number 2 and number 3 seeding in that district.
Lots of offensive
Monahan's
fireworks.
already won that district, and I want to see what Sweetwater does after getting punched in the mouth.
Sure.
This was a team that it was all sunshine and daffodils for the Mustangs all year long, and then Monahan's takes them down. And then you start looking around and you go, okay, well, is this team even the second best team in the district? And we're going to find out. Yep. Greenwood is a squad that I think is flying under a lot of people's radar. 7-1, their one loss is to Monahan's, and they're scoring tons of points. Chris Thompson, their quarterback, their running back, Jacoby Hunt. The question for me is going to be whether or not who plays defense in this game. Basically, Sweetwater did get Sweetwater does have some offense. And I think that they're going to test this Greenwood defense. I picked Greenwood. I think I'll consider that a mild upset. Yeah. But I don't know. Like, basically, I want to see what Sweetwater does once they've been punched in the mouth. Sure. And they've just been punched in the mouth. I want to see them respond. They can absolutely make me look silly, but I would take Greenwood, and that would be the game I would go to out of those three. What's next?
All right. This is from Julio Garcia. I told him you'd get to it. He asks, I was impressed with their very close and last-second loss to Post. So, what kind of run do you think the Forsan Buffaloes can make this year?
Forsan is interesting for me because I think that you're exactly right. They are, I think, fair or not, when you take a loss, people kind of forget about you.
Kind of write you off, but Post is good, man.
Yeah.
And that was a tight game. Like you said, last-second loss. There's a lot to think about there.
So let me pull them up because I want to make sure I give you a viable answer. So here's the problem. I'm sorry, I should have had all this stuff up.
How are you supposed to know which questions?
I don't know, man, but I hold myself to a very high standard.
It's all right. They're ready to go. It's all right.
Okay. So here's the biggest issue for them is that they're heading into the playoffs. First of all, they've got to beat Stanford just to get in. They're not in yet.
Right.
They've got to beat Stanford tonight. I think they're favored to beat Stanford. Mm-hmm. Once they get in, though, I will say it looks like it's going to be – I mean, depending on who wins Ozona-Anthony is going to determine who they play in the first round. I will tell you that I think Forsan would be a favorite over Anthony. I don't think they'd be a favorite over Ozona, but I think it would be very close. The problem then lies that then you're going to run into like some sort of then I think you're going to run into a real buzzsaw when you take on like New Deal in the second round. For Forsan, I like this team a lot, but I just think that the problem for them has been their defense has been a little bit, or rather their offense has been a little bit inconsistent. They've had games where they've looked great. They've had other games where it just kind of no-showed. Mm-hmm. Stanford, I think they're better than. I think they get into the playoffs. But for me, I want to see if Forsan can play defense tonight, or offense tonight and score a little bit. Otherwise, it could. I mean, they got to make the playoffs first and foremost. That's key number one for them. So I lean towards them to beat Stanford tonight. I think they would be. It's a toss-up if they play Ozona. I do think if Anthony gets that number 1 seed, then I think that they would be favored to beat Anthony. But that's just my hot take. What's next?
Okay. This one is from Naomi Espinoza.
Hi, Naomi.
This is a question we've gotten a few times.
What's up?
But I feel like it's worth answering every time we get it. Do you think Iran can go all the way?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I do.
for sure.
For sure.
We do. The hardest part is the region, right? And then the title game, obviously.
Well,
but getting there, you got to get through a tough region.
So right now, our projected path, TexasFootball.com/projections, where we can have it. By the way, TexasFootball.com/playoffs will have all of your playoff brackets starting probably Sunday morning, I'd say. But Iran will play, it looks like Baird. They'll be favored over them. They'll play Santo. Santo's an interesting team, but I would favor them. I would favor Iran over them. Then they'd probably draw Albany in a regional semifinal. Tough, but I think Iran's the best team in Region 2. And then they'd probably draw Monday, another team people are forgetting about, but I think they're better than them. Coming out of Region 1, my projection to come out of there would be, I think you're probably looking at a Wellington-Memphis rematch, which would probably favor, I don't know, one of those teams. I think Iran would beat them. And then, we talked about it, I think Bremond is coming out of that right side of the bracket again. And the question's going to be, does a team coached by Mark Kiroff that runs a kind of offense that Iran runs, is that a better matchup for Bremond or for Iran in the title game?
Right. It's kind of like we talked about. Albany has come close both times, but they've kind of played the same game that Bremond's playing, right? It's a shootout, basically. You're playing for the shootout.
You're trying to beat them at their own game.
Iran's not going to do that. They're going to grind the game out and try to make some big defensive stops. So it's actually a more intriguing clash if it happens, but we're a long way from there still.
I don't know. Ask me a little bit later if I would pick Iran to win a title, but I think that they are on the very short list of teams to win the 2A Division II title. I'll say that. What's next?
Let's see here. Kevin Higginbotham asks, and I assume he's talking about the specific canyon. How hard a road does Canyon have, and how far can they go?
Canyon. So Canyon I have struggled with all year long because I think that they are not as consistent as I'd like them to be.
For sure. Yeah.
But I will tell you that, first of all, we've got them projected to go Division II. We've got them projected, obviously, in Region 1, playing Abilene Cooper in the first round. That's a tough game right off the bat. I would favor Canyon in that one.
Okay.
Let me tell you this. You know who they'll get in the second round?
I'm scared to ask.
Canutillo.
Ooh.
And you know what?
Canutillo's playing really well right now. Really
I know
well.
it's a team from El Paso.
Yeah, but still.
But this is a good Canutillo team. And I will tell you that if they get to the third round, they're going to get mollywopped by Aledo. So that's
right.
That's the bottom line of it. So
right.
They will make it. I think if I were to project out Canyon, they would make it to the area round. I would say that's a
best case scenario.
That's a pretty. I don't want to say safe because Abilene Cooper is pretty good.
Yeah.
But I think I would pick them to make it to an area round. It's a coin flip to beat Canutillo. It is less than 10% to beat Aledo.
Right.
That's my thought.
That's fair, I think.
What's next?
This Matt Tepper guy. Which unit reverts to the norm this week? Tech's offense or Tech's defense?
Offense.
Offense.
I think Tech's offense.
You don't think the defense can do that again?
Oh, Tech's defense. No. I think that the defense is going to get roasted by Dante Foreman. But I also think that this is a Texas defense that has, and I want to make sure I'm not speaking out of turn here, but this is a Texas defense that has given up 500-plus yards in all but 2 of their games. Is that right? They gave up...
Not good.
Yeah, in fact, in 4 of their 7 they've given up. They gave up 624 to Baylor last week. A Baylor team that was, I think Baylor fans would admit, was not hitting on all cylinders. I expect an Oklahoma-like output in Lubbock, something like 672 yards of offense. I think they're going to hum. The defense I have no faith in. I would say that the Tech offense reverts back to its normal self. What's next?
I can't believe you even gave that question time of day. What's the playoff outlook for 19-5A? God.
19.5A is the dumbest tiebreaker in the state.
Dumbest tiebreaker in the world.
So I will tell you that. So basically, Georgetown and Connolly is the key game.
Right.
If Georgetown wins, they're in the playoffs. Okay, winning in.
Right.
Winning in.
And if they win, doesn't that send Cedar Park to Division II?
Does. Correct. Is that right, or is it Connolly?
I can't remember which one.
I don't know. It's one of them. I think it's Connolly. I think it's Connolly.
That's a big deal, though. That's a really big deal. If Cedar Park goes Division I or Division II, it's a really big deal.
Let me make sure I get this right.
Maybe.
Go ahead.
Remember.
Go ahead.
I can't remember.
Okay. So they have the dumbest tiebreaker in the state. Cedar Park's in. Connolly's in.
Right.
Georgetown would then, believe it or not, if they do not win this game, based on the stupid tiebreaker they have, they would be out for the third consecutive year.
Ugh.
Okay? Because of just the way things lined up. Because barring Hutto or Rouse losing to pretty woeful Bastrop Cedar Creek and Bastrop teams, respectively.
Right.
So if Georgetown makes it, that would keep Cedar Park in Division I. Okay? Mm-hmm. If Georgetown does not make it, that would mean that Leander Rouse would then make it. And if Leander Rouse makes it, that would bump Cedar Park down to Division II. That's the situation there. I picked Connolly. I don't feel great about it. I think it's a coin flip. I think it's a coin flip type game.
Picks. I think Georgetown got 2 picks. And
I think that's appropriate. Yeah. I think that it's a coin flip type game.
Yeah.
Georgetown has everything to play for here, but Connolly would love nothing more than to knock them down a peg and break their heart again. I expect it all to be laid out there. I mean, Georgetown's going to be – they're fighting for their playoff lives. They know that if they don't win, they're out because of the tiebreaker. So right now, I would take Connolly to beat Georgetown and break Georgetown's heart again, but this could go either way. Yeah. If you are Cedar Park, I would say that you probably want to go to –
Division II.
You think so?
I think
because you avoid Manville,
you
avoid Manville, you avoid Temple, you avoid some of the big heavy hitters in Division I.
Now,
I think you're right.
I think the College Station would that be
Denton Ryan and a title game.
College Station would that be the team you'd have to deal with in Division II?
Right now, the way that we projected on TexasFootball.com, we have them in Division II now, and they would have to go through Brenham and then probably A&M Consolidated, and then Crosby or Fort Bend Marshall, and then College Station would be the big team to beat in them. But I think that's an easier path for them than the Division I bracket, where if they get in, they would have to deal with Manville and Temple in their own region. Yeah. So if you are a Cedar Park fan, to me, you want to have your Georgetown pom-poms out tonight.
Yeah.
So that's it. What's next? Let's get 2 more.
All right. Don't tell me how to do this.
Fine.
I'm the moderator. This is a loaded question.
Oh, God.
Would Phil Danaher be just as successful if he coached in DFW, Houston, Austin, or San Antonio? The schedule of Cal Allen is usually cupcake filled.
Yeah.
I think it's an unfair question because I think it discounts the first half of his career, in which Cal Allen could probably beat anyone at their level. Mm-hmm. Did it help rack up wins to be playing in the Coastal Bend? Absolutely. But pre-2005, Cal Allen is a team no one in the state wanted to play.
Would he be the question is, would he be the winningest coach in Texas high school football history if he had coached at Fort Worth, Arlington Heights? No. I don't think he would be.
Probably not.
But here's the bottom line of the matter. Yeah. Phil Danaher is one of the best coaches in Texas high school football history. We can argue as to whether or not he is the best, but he is definitely in that conversation. Right. So I don't care if he is coaching Tornillo, okay, who's 0-10.
Right.
I don't care. Yeah. He'd get them winning.
Yeah.
Would it be winning at the same level? No, but that's arguing a little bit of, that's I think an intellectually dishonest argument. Yeah. So
I also think any coach in the greatest coaching conversation is the kind of coach who puts himself in a situation where he can really be successful.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Why isn't one of the coaches at Corpus Christi Flower Bluff one of the winningest coaches of all time?
Right.
Why isn't the coach at Beaumont Westbrook the winningest coach of all time?
Right.
You know why? Because Phil Danaher is a special guy.
Yeah.
Because Phil Danaher is a special coach, and that's my thought. I think it's an intellectually.
I think that's the right answer.
I think it's an intellectually dishonest question that works on a premise that I just don't agree with.
Right.
All right, last one.
Poking the bear.
Poking the bear. Bring it.
Any hope for Texas A&M making the college football playoff? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. We talked about this a couple days ago when the rankings came out.
They have to be the biggest fan of every team playing Washington.
Right.
That's the team they want. They need to beat.
Yeah.
First of all, they got to take care of their own business.
Right.
I think they beat Mississippi State. I do think that Ole Miss and LSU both pose huge challenges to them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but take care of your own business first. That's step one.
Yep.
Then root very, very, very hard for everyone playing Washington.
Yeah.
That's your enemy right now. Because if Washington goes 13-0, I will promise you that they will leap A&M and that they will be in the college football playoff. So let's assume Alabama will get in the playoff, right?
Okay.
I think that's pretty fair.
Sure.
Clemson, I think their toughest games are already behind them.
Yep.
So I think Clemson gets in. The winner of the Big Ten, either Michigan or Ohio State, is getting in, and that's not really up for debate. I don't think they're like the way that the committee views the Big Ten.
Unless
they both lose two times.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Unless they just lose out from here.
Correct.
Right.
Exactly. And then to me, it comes down to Washington, A&M, or Louisville.
Yeah.
And I will tell you that it probably wouldn't help to start rooting against Louisville, or probably wouldn't hurt to start rooting against Louisville too, because that's probably your enemy as well.
I think I still stand by what I said on Tuesday or Wednesday when it came out. The chaos will reign supreme. If A&M wins out, I bet they're in. Because I expect enough teams to lose
I think that's fair.
that they sneak in.
I think that's fair.